Hello and welcome to episode 12 of The Knitting Man. I'm Gary A. Smith and this episode is called How to Knit a Sweater with No Pattern, and this week we are vest shaping. Hello and welcome back. For new people to the channel, what this channel's all about is we're trying to improve people's knitting skills, so particularly colour work. So what I mainly do is colour work, so whether that's floral or intarsia, or whether that's picture knits. I do like a nice big picture knit. So that's what this channel's about. So if it is your first time, it might be good if you go back to episode 1 and have a look through, because there's lots of things you can pick up. First of all, this week is about how to knit a sweater with no pattern, and in particular we're looking at, we started in episode 5 I think it was, we started to make an off-pieced vest. So it's a floral vest knitted off piece, so it's completely made up as you go along, and at this point I'd hope to be at the armholes and to cut the V, not cut the V, but to start the V for the neck. But this week I've been very busy because apart from doing YouTube, and this week we've put out, if you haven't seen it yet, we've put out episode 3 of the Knitting Man shorts, which is how to cut a steek. And we try not to put any funnies into our shorts, but they always end up creeping in there. But there's a nice little funny at the beginning. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing because you've seen me cut a steek before, just have a look at a little funny at the beginning if you want, if you like the funnies, if you're here for the funnies. Don't know where I was. I started talking and I started waffling on. So yes, I hoped to have got further with my vest, because Gary in Australia is up to the armholes, and he's been up to the armholes now for about a week, and he's been saying, what do I do? You know, where do I go from here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through my process. Now, I had hoped at this point to say, right, well, I'll cast off this amount of stitches and I'll do this, that and the other. But because I'm nowhere near the armholes at all, and the reason is just because, well, we did go to a boot sale this week. If you don't know what a boot sale is, and particularly people in America might not know, because I don't think you have them in America, but what a boot sale is, it's like a yard sale, but instead of having it at your house, what happens is everybody piles all the stuff into their car and they all go off into a field, and you've got a field with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars, and everybody opens their boots and they get all their old junk out, and then everyone just walks around and buys their old junk. Well, we went to one of those yesterday, and it was our first one of the year. Well, it's actually our first one for 2 years because of COVID, so we've really missed them, and they are great fun. And I did manage to buy a few things this week. I managed to buy, I didn't spend very much. I was very careful with how much I spent, and obviously Mrs. Smith doesn't want me bringing back too much yarn, so I was very selective, things like that. And she doesn't want me bringing back any records. Again, I was very selective. So I did buy 3 records. I bought, not that one, I bought the Specials first album. I've actually got that a few times already, and I actually bought that the very day it came out, I remember buying that. So yeah, that's a nice thing. I bought Joy Division Closer. Again, it's one of the records I bought first week it was out. Got another great record, and I have got that a couple of times already as well. And the Smiths' first album, and I think that's only my second copy. I did have another copy, but I lost it at some point. So yeah, I've only got 2 copies of that, but they're all in nice condition. So the Smiths' first album, so they were good purchases. I got myself this little knitting pin gauge, so it's got, which is quite a nice one for my collection. I bought a couple of fountain pens because I do love a fountain pen, and I bought myself an old tobacco tin, an old cigarette tin, which I quite like it because it's a nice big one and it's got a hinged lid, which is what I'm always looking out for, are the thickness, being that it can get a watercolour half pan in, and a hinged lid because I prefer a hinged lid. And that's a lovely one. So I'll clean that up and then I will fill that with watercolours, and I'll enjoy doing that. That'll be a nice little project for me. And I bought this red bag here, which is like, it's a bit kind of worn around the handles. It's straw on the inside, it's like a straw bag, but I really like the colour. And then I bought some yarn. I didn't buy all this amount of yarn. As you can see, this is the K Facet Kid Silk that I showed you last week, which Mrs. Smith has decided is going to go towards her new project, which is Joey's shawl. We've got no idea what it's going to be yet, but obviously I've got 2 projects running at the moment. I've got the off-piste vest, and I've got the bunny blanket. I'll talk about that in a second. Joey snaffled that Rowan yarn for her project. So the yarn that I bought, I didn't buy very much yarn. I was very, very careful. There was a lot of yarn there. Obviously, there's loads of acrylic and man-made fibres and things like that. And also there's lots of sort of chunky yarns and stuff, which I pass on generally, because obviously I kind of keep it to certain weights. So there was this Rowan wool cotton. I do like Rowan yarns. I do. I mean, I suppose I grew up on Rowan yarns, so I like Rowan yarns from the old K Facet days. And I bought another, which is a nice colour, really like that sort of mauve, and they were 50p each. And oh yeah, this one I really like. This one, Spider Tweedy 4-ply fleck fingering. Right, I must read that. Look at that lovely little vintage label. That was 10p. So I could have bought 10 of those for £1. If they had them, I'd have bought 10 for £1. And then this bit of grounding wool there. So that's what I bought. And I bought another one, but I can't remember. Oh yes, I did. I bought this one, but this one's a cotton. It's a Rowan 4-ply cotton, and I will give that to my brother, Yarn Gods, because I don't use cotton very much because I'm knitting in the round and cutting steeks and things. So yeah, I will gift that to Yarn Gods, and I've got loads of cotton to sort it out. So when I do the program about sorting out my stash, not allowed to say stash because she's in the room. When I do that program, I'm going to take all the cotton, I'm going to put it in a big bag, and I'm going to send it off to Yarn Gods because he'll use it. He loves crocheting in cotton. So yeah, that's that. So that's just one day of this week. I did work 2 days this week as well in my day job, which is I do graphic design for a sign company. And the other main things that I was doing, so I hope everyone else has had a lovely week. Hello to everyone out there in knitting world, knitting land. I I was saying to Jo, where's the mug of the week? And she hasn't done me mug of the week. I'm back on this Cornishware, this old favourite, TG Green, massive cup. I think what's his name what is his name? In Harry Potter's got one of these great big cups. What's his name, Jo? You know, big beard. Hagrid's got a cup, one of these cups. If you look at the Harry Potter films, he's got this very same cup. A quick swig. Oh, so where was I? I was talking about my week. So I managed to go to the boot sale, which was an absolute joy. Didn't come home with much. Mrs. Smith, she goes around and she buys lots of lovely little clothes for children. She finds some lovely vintage hand knits and things. So all of my grandchildren walk around in little vintage hand knits like I've knitted them for them, but I haven't. Although there is somewhere, Jo, there was a little one that I knitted for Arthur, which was a special one that I knitted. She's looking for it now. She can't see it. Of course she can't. No, wouldn't you believe it? You'll find it. Where is it? It's all right, you don't have to whisper. I'll have a little drink whilst she's finding it. There you go. Oh look, it's got a few little what's it? So yes, this is a little one that I knitted for Arthur. It was I knitted it a while ago. I didn't really knit it. It didn't really wear it. It's still got bits hanging off it. It needs ends darning in, but I made it with great big pockets so that he could put his cards in it, because he just walks around with cards in his hands all the time. So it's a little cardigan that I knit, and it's steeped, and then I've crocheted up the front there and put like different buttons on it. But I think that one's going to go to Atlas now, so maybe I'll darn those ends in, and we'll take a few shots of Atlas wearing that. But yeah, Mrs. Smith, she loves to go around the boot sales and find like vintage hand knits, and that's her big thing. So yes, so I went to the boot sale one morning, and then also I reordered some of these. So if anybody wanted one of these, they've been out of Etsy now for a couple of months. I think they sold out quite quickly, so you haven't been able to buy those for a couple of months, but we've got 50 more of those. The signed ones have gone, so they're just plain, they're not signed, but with those you get the little how-to, the little crib sheet and the instructions with that one. So they're available back in our Etsy shop. And if you want us to fold it to save on postage, let us know, because otherwise we'll put it in a tube. But yes. And the other thing that I did was, I think at the end of last week, I was talking about my hair chart. So what I did this week was I finished rubbing out everything. I just tidied it all up, and I took it into the computer, and I tidied it up in the computer a little bit, and then I've sent that off to the printers. So there's pre-orders now. I've just put that on Etsy a minute ago. So there's pre-orders, you can buy that on Etsy, and we won't get them till early next week. So that'll be the beginning of April. So they'll be available, but you can buy them now. And what else have I done this week? Well, I haven't got any knitting done, that's the thing. That's the whole point of what I was saying. I think I've just talked for like 10 minutes there without actually saying anything. But yeah, the whole point of what I was saying was that I didn't get any knitting done this week at all. Because, the other things, of course, we put out a YouTube short, one of my shorts. So yeah, we've been busy. So first of all, what we're going to do next quickly is on Sunday. It was Mother's Day, and we went to Church Cove, which is near Helston in Cornwall, and we've lived here for 20 something years in Cornwall, and we've never been to Church Cove, and it's, you know, it's quite local to us. It's just one that we've sort of missed out on, really. So we went there. It was a bit blustery, and but it was the sun was out, so it's relatively warm. So here is Travels with My Yarn, Church Cove near Helston. So there's Church Cove near Helston. It's very beautiful. It's a tiny little beach, really, and the church is right on the beach, and it's a really old church, really old, and old gravestones. It's really beautiful, lovely place. It's a National Trust, So yeah, if you're a member of the National Trust, you can go down there and park for free and everything. So yeah, great. So we went down with, so you can see all of my family there. You probably can't see Jo because she's behind the camera, but we were all down there having a picnic. So our first one of the year really, because it was just warm enough. But hopefully it'll get warmer. Well, I think we're actually due for a cold spell now. So the next thing that we're going to look at, and so this is like a continuation from episode 5 when we talked about how to start knitting an off-pieced vest. So now we've knitted a tube up to the arms, and we're going to do the split for the V, and we're going to do the splits for the arms. So that's next. Okay, so so now we're going to do, I'm going to try and show you how I would do it. And normally, because I'm so used to doing it, I just do it without thinking about it. So I'm going to try and explain it to you. So I haven't prepared this. I'm going to try and explain it to you how I would do it. So at the moment, so we've just knitted a tube. But if I draw it, so you're just seeing the front side of that tube. So we've got a tube up to the armholes, and then we're going to split here, and we're going to shape the armholes. So if, now let's just see, where are you? So I want you to be able to see what I'm drawing. I can draw right across there, can't I? Right, okay. So at the moment, that's where we are. So your ribs down here, and we're going to create these armholes. Is that all visible? I think so. And then we've got the neck there, like that, something like that. Not squiffy as that, I hope, when you come to knit it. Okay, so these shapes, normally I take off, well, and let's, before we get any further, let's just establish what I'm doing. I've got 46 inches. Well, it's not 46 because it's half of that, so it's 23 inches across there. And I've got 368 stitches all the way around, and 368 divided by 2, 36 is 18. And I've got 184 stitches from there to there. So first of all, we need to establish how much I want for the neck hole. So I've got a ruler here somewhere, Jo. There he is. Oh, she's right on it. So I want to about there, I'd say, because I'm leaving a bit for the rib. So I want to come out to about there. So from there to there is about 10 inches. So that's 10 inches from there to there. So that's 10 of my 23 used up. With the armholes here, what I generally do is I'll cast off about that many stitches under the arm. So what am I looking at there? About 10 stitches, something like that. So to get that curve, I probably want to, don't forget that there's the back side to this as well. So if I take off 5 there, cast off 5 there, and I'm casting off 5 on the other side, so I'm actually casting off 10 stitches. So what you're going to end up with is 3 separate bits of knitting, all on the same needle, and they're not connected. So you will have 6, because there's 2 colours, you'll have 6 pieces of yarn attached to this, possibly. But what I might do is knit the back first and then leave the fronts and do those after. But that's what I would do. So I would generally take away 5 here, and you're doing the same on the back. So 5, and then what I would do is step down. So I'd go 4, and on the next row 3, next row 2, and then a 1, and maybe another 1 to give you that graduated curve there. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 16 stitches, which is 2 inches, because I'm knitting at 8 stitches per inch. So I'll lose another 2 inches over there. So at the moment I've got 23 inches across there, 23, minus the 10 for the neck, 2 on each armhole, which will give me 4, 23 minus, so it's 9 inches. So from there to there is going to be half of 9, so that's 4.5 inches, and that's 4.5 inches. Now 4.5. Now I am knitting 8 stitches to the inch, so I know that I'm going to end up with, when I get to the shoulders, 4.5 inches. 4.5 times 8 is 8, 8, 16, 32. 32 plus 4 is 36 stitches. So I'm going to end up with 36 stitches there, and I'm going to end up with 36 stitches there. So okay, so now let's talk about this. So this distance, I need to know this distance because I'm losing 10 inches across there over this distance. So 10 inches is 40 stitches, because 10 inches is 80 stitches. So that's 80 stitches that I'm going to lose between there and there. So that there to there is 40 stitches. So I need to know how many rows it is from there to there. Now I had a little quick measure of what I've knitted, and I've literally only knitted up to about there at the moment, but I did work it out how many rows I was knitting, what my gauge is. So, and I've written it down and I can't see it. So I'm knitting 7 rows an inch, so roughly 7 rows an inch. So, and I would want that distance to be 10 inches. So I want that distance to be 10 inches. So at 7 rows per inch, that distance from there to there is 70 rows. And I've got to lose 40 stitches over 70 rows. Sorry, I had to stop there because Mrs. Smith wasn't absolutely sure of my maths, and she has to keep me on the straight and narrow. But I did manage to convince her that my maths was correct. She was worried about these 36 stitches, how 4.5 inches became 36 stitches, but it does work out to 36 stitches. So back to the neck. So we're going to split the neck probably at the same time that we take the first 5 off of either side of this hole here. So we've got to lose 40 stitches over 70 rows. Now that's easy, because if we have 10 rows at the top here that are just straight, so they're straight, which is fine, because when you get to here you'll want them to be straight, so that's good. So we're going to have 10 rows which is just straight at the top there, and then we're going to have 60 rows to lose 40 stitches. So what we'll do is for the first 2 rows we'll lose a stitch at the neckline, and the next row, so the next row we won't. So for every 3 rows we will decrease at the neckline by 1 stitch. on 2 rows and 1 row without a decrease, if that makes sense. And we'll do it on both sides going up. Now what I would normally do is, just to make my life easier, those decreases, what I do is I come in and I've got 4 stitches left before the neck hole, and then I'll knit 2 together on that row, and then just knit the other 2, so that the knits together are just there, a couple of stitches before the neck V. So we had to stop filming there because we ran out of battery. So I'm back in. Okay, so we talked about decreasing either side of the neck V there. And then the next things are, we've got 36 stitches here. So what I would probably do when I come to shaping the shoulder here, I would probably do 312, something like that. So I would decrease 12, and then the next row decrease 12, and then cast off the last 12, something like that, when I was shaping the shoulder. And then I would also put a bit of shaping on the back of the neck there. So yeah, when I come to do the shaping at the neck there, that's 80 stitches. So I would probably, if I cast off in the middle there, say 50 stitches, that would give me 30 stitches left, so 15 on either side, 15 between there and there and there and there. And I might do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which I think should work out about, it does work out the 15, to get that curve at the back of the neck, something like that anyway, to get a bit of a curve. So all of these numbers, what I wanted to say really is all of these numbers aren't definitive. So I would be, I might do these sums in my head, and I do find this stuff really easy to do. So I know it's difficult for people, especially people that are used to knitting from patterns. But I don't ever knit from a pattern. So but what I would say is absolutely crucial is that you keep measuring it against the body. And then, because you're only doing a row at a time, you can't go far wrong. So you can start to see, oh, that shape's working, or if that shape's not working, oh, I don't need to take that other stitch off, I'll leave it, or I need to take off a couple of stitches as I progress. So nothing's sort of written in stone. If you're knitting off piece, you're kind of you're offering it up maybe every row against you're trying it on every row or every few rows to see how it's going, and then you can make slight variances as you go along. So yeah, I've just had a conversation with Mrs. Smith, who, I mean, she's not a knitter anyway. So we've just had a conversation about how complex people might find this. That and obviously to me it's not, but really, I suppose what's going to happen is that that's going to throw up more questions. So you're going to ask me more questions based on this, and I'm quite happy to take those questions. And also that'll help me to understand how I need to put it over to you, so I can sharpen my pencil really. So that's probably a good thing, because I'm not used to giving lectures on how to shape knitting. It's my first time ever doing this. So hopefully the feedback that I get from you, I'll be able to use to improve it, so that next week we can come back and we can discuss things. So yeah, for now, thanks for that. So that was how I shape a jumper. The other thing we've got to do from last week is we did a giveaway, which was one of, I think it was a cat chart, was it, Joe? Yes, this cat chart. My granddaughter Ottilie, she's coming home from school in a minute, and she's going to pick a name out of a hat for that. So we are going to go to that now.
You can either read it out if you want, or hand it
You
to
can read
Granddad.
it, or you can hand it out to me. So all the names are in the hat
Shall I
there.
press play?
It's already playing.
Oh, sorry.
So Ottilie, if you want to come and pick a name, and then you can read the name out of the person that's won the competition. So just pick one of those pieces of paper out of the hat. I'll say hello to everyone first, quickly.
Granddad, you might just sign it. That's
Okay,
it. Just
they
pick a
won't.
name
They
out
won't
for
see
us.
you if you just put your hand across. They won't see you. Go on. Just pick one. You got it.
Okay, gonna
Right.
open it and read
And
it.
then if you just read the name of the winner. So the winner
That's
is.
a tricky one.
I can't read it.
Do you want to hold it up to the
That's
camera
Nanny's
for us
writing.
there?
Just hold it up to the camera. Come in a little bit nearer. They can't see you. It's all right. And so that is the winner. So let me read it.
Thank you, Ottilie.
So Orla McGettrick. Yes, if you could just leave a message below, and then we'll sort out how it's best for me to get it to you, how I can work out your address and everything. So yes, so the winner of our, where is it?
Here it is.
Of this cat poster that I've written all over, and the winner is Orla McGettrick. Thanks to everyone that entered, and there were loads of entries, and it was really good fun. So we'll probably do it again because it's quite a good thing to do. And yeah, that's great. Thanks. So that's it for today. Next week, I think Joey's been digging around trying to find all my whips, but she hasn't found them all because I know there's a load still in the loft. But there are quite a few whips that I'd like to talk about. So maybe I'll talk about a few of those next week. And possibly, if I can decide on a colour, I might start knitting my hair blanket. And I'm quite excited about the hair blanket because I think it might be the first time ever that somebody's probably going to finish it before I do. So that's quite an exciting thing for me. And I'm thinking maybe, because I showed you a couple of weeks ago, I just jogged the table, get told off for that because she's out the room, and then she'll look at this later on and she'll go, you knocked the table. I showed you my stash haul from a few weeks ago where I had all of those different dark blues. I'm thinking I might do my hair in like a dark blue, because I don't think I've done a dark blue yet, but maybe dark blue with a cream or like a beige rather than a stark white. So that's potentially what I'm going to do with my hair. It's not really sort of you would think greens or browns maybe, because sort of earthy colours, but I don't know, we'll see. I might change my mind by then. So if you are enjoying our videos, please subscribe, because that's the thing that's going to make us make more videos. And please like hit the like button below, because the more you do that, the more that this video will get shared with other people. And all my links are down below as well. So my Etsy link and my Instagram link. I'm Gary Ray Smith on Instagram. So all my links are down below. So that's it for today. See you next week. Thanks for watching. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from her. No, that's wrong. It's good night from me, and it's good night from her. Easier.
Yeah.
Let's stop.
Because it was more back there, wasn't it, before? Back there a bit now. Because it was a blank piece of paper to start with.
Yeah, just set it up with the flowers and the handles back
Right,
again.
that's the handle.
So Yeah, we just go. We just go pick a name out of a basket or something, Joe. You got something she can pick a name
I
out
don't know,
of?
I'll find something.